Where's the art? There's be more anarchy than art. So resistance gives form. Heard great artists say this. Limitations reveal style. Resistance. Something to go, or else fucking green lights. If life's just nothing but green lights, if you got no yellows or reds, no reasons to pause or crises that stop you, resistance? What are you, just go in circles? Do you run out of gas? Get dizzy? I don't see that. How do we evolve? Or devolve without resistance? Now, picking the right resistance is an art in itself. It's challenging. I've been clumsy with it in my life. Especially when I got famous and got success. And enough people telling me I love you and the caviar and the champagne, I was like, shit, why me? I don't deserve any of this. What I did, I fuck things up on purpose just to say, like, I trip myself running down hills like I bloody my own nose and go, now I can feel. Okay, now my heels are on the ground. It's clumsy. So, I don't think we need the kind of resistance that we create that can harm us or get in our way for getting in our way's sake, because I've come to learn, I think we all are, no, when things are going really well, resistance is going to come. If you have any ambition, resistance is going to come.
We often see resistance as a form of failure and something that we should endeavor to avoid. You think about the avoidance of like people building families, or even, many people consider that we're living in a bit of a comfort crisis. This is slightly a different sort of analogy, but most of the diseases that we have today, whether they're diseases of, the mind, like, people feeling lonely and isolated, or physical diseases, 80% of Americans getting back pain, but no one in the Hadza tribe in Africa getting back pain. They're all a consequence of us continually choosing comfort, which is a short-term friend but long-term enemy. And resistance, I think, is something that increasingly we can choose or opt out of.
It's a choice too. I mean, can I hit on a point that's on this subject? It's called Tips Included. And I wrote this based on participation trophies. Entitlement. How too much of something can be just as harmful as not enough. How we all need good fortune, good fate, charity sometimes, but we shouldn't rely on that. Okay? Called Tips Included. When extra credit's included, credit doesn't get us due. When more gives us less, the exchange rate is gone skewed. When amnesty is offered going into the crime, we're more bound to commit it because there's no fine. We start playing to tie instead of going for the win. When participation is the trophy for every campaign. If I stay on the porch because you picked up the slack, when you look over your shoulder, I can have it back. If there is no curfew, we're going to stay out all night. No tab at our bar, we're going to get drunk and start a fight. All these long lenses got us losing our sight. You keep lifting it from me, I'm going to lose all my money. When a 4-star duty suits a 6-star rate, we take our hands off the wheel and rely on fate. Eating all we can at the all-we-can-eat buffet gives us a 3.8 education and a 4.2 GPA. We steal from ourselves and get away with the scam. What's the measure of merit with less give a damn? These unlimited options sure have me confused, while all the conveniences are keeping me properly. In this red light district with the horror of inflation, the ROI's math don't pay for vacation. So let's just admit it, this extra credit's quite a fluffer. Because with the tips included, the service will suffer.
That's so good.
But it's about that. The conveniences, the long lenses, everything's like, we've out-convenienced ourselves. What's AI going to do to us? Talk about convenience. How much, and I want to keep hearing studies, I wonder if you have an opinion on this. How much of you coming up with an idea and then writing and rewriting it, thinking about it. No, it's not an export. Oh, no, this is what I really mean and how to get it. How much of that is really valuable to get it beyond just an intellectual idea? More valuable than just going, oh, there it is. Because what comes out of it, incredibly impressive. Like a hunch is that, yeah, we could use it for like signposts. Help us. Oh, that's good organization. Oh, thank you for helping me organize. But there's a value to us going through the sweat equity of learning something. How do you feel about it?
I mean, exactly what you said, but the studies have just come out using different things like ChatGPT have actually proven what you just said to be true. And when people use AI to produce a piece of work, not only can't recall what they've made, but they also start speaking in language more like the AI, so they start to lose their voice. But I mean, yeah, I mean, through history, people like Richard Feynman, the physicist, has said the best way to learn something is to learn it and then to go through the pain of writing it, condensing it down to a simple truth like you do so often in your new book, Poems and Prayers, and then sharing it with the world and then getting the feedback. And if the world understood it like you meant it, like that poem you just shared, you understand it. That's evidence that you get it.
Right.
So I think AI is going to be great for me saying something to you but not learning something myself. And I think if you want to defend creativity and innovation and the ability to think, you actually have a huge opportunity, which is to go left when everyone's going right.
This is why nobody...
And it goes to what you were saying there. You were talking about be careful when you mess with incentives. Like, be careful when you choose the easier road. Be careful of the unintended consequences. And AI is a prime example of an unintended consequence of you taking the easier road today.
Yeah.
And I just actually made a video about this, funnily enough, just warning my audience about when something appears to be like a short-term friend, it's usually a long-term enemy. When when you choose easy today, you choose hard tomorrow, and there's always a trade-off.
Right. But you think if you choose hard today, you usually get easy tomorrow.
I mean, there's obviously a ton of nuance to this, but in many contexts, yes. So, for example, I was thinking of my father. My father would never have. He would avoid conflict at all costs. He would avoid the difficult conversation. And when I zoom out over the decades of his life and marriage, I go, man, that cost you big time.
You caught up with it.
Oh my God. And me inverting that in my own life and continually just confronting it head on has had the complete opposite effect. Like when you were talking about being a young man and making that decision because you had that voice in your head saying, law might not be my thing. You made that phone call to your father.
Yeah.
Like what I hear you did, realigned yourself to you. Now, if you hadn't made that call, and you had a couple more of those bad habits, you would have got to 40 and been like, who the fuck is this guy?
Right.
What is this life? You would have looked around and said, who is she? Who are they?
Right.
What is this job?
Right.
And that course correction that I think it requires you to do the slightly harder thing today. What do you think?
I agree with you. That's the resistance. You're choosing, look, I still gotta learn how to do communication. Because, there's sometimes when the wind's at our back and we learn. There's sometimes when it's easy street, it's like, yeah, don't interrupt this. This is a sweet ass song. Trust the hill's coming. Again, don't be so impressed with this, and don't. What I have to do is so fall into when things are going really well. I go, there it is. That's the me. No, it's not. Not with any ambition, it's not. Or not with life happening, it's not. But my hunch, I want to see what you think about this theory, is you'd rather shoot for an A and make a C, rather than better than shoot for a C and make it an A. Now, so go for perfection. Reality always comes in under it. But in that moment, when you see the inevitable reality, the outcome, the result, how quickly can we go, okay, but I got so much more out of it. Job, person, myself because I went for perfection. Then if I'd have just gone for, nah, dude, just give me, just pass class. It's again that little bit of owner's renters mentality. And what can be hard for me sometimes is can take me too long to come down from when, it didn't hit perfection. And maybe it takes me a week to go, dude, now do you finally realize that, of course you weren't going to get perfection, but you got so much more out of it because you went for perfection. Yeah. So be pleased with reality because you got a good grade on it, man. That was good. That piece of art wouldn't have been that true if you wouldn't have been. I always say this all the time, and I never mean this in a disrespectful way. I've never done a movie or a performance that lived up to what I thought it could be. Because I'm thinking it could be divine. Comes out majorly inspiring me to speak.
So it's not charging? So it's not charging?
It even have some magic to it, but
That charger sucks.
it's divine.
That's tension.
Yeah.
Unclosed gap. And I think that everything that's ever been built that's great or creatively brilliant has come from someone who has a big expectation gap. And of course, the very definition of that, you're never going to close it. And actually, probably the reason you then are motivated to move to the next thing and pursue divine again is because it wasn't divine last time. Maybe there's still something left on the table, and that's means you never arrive.
Right.
You talk about arrival
Yeah.
a lot in the poems and prayers as well. I also was reflecting on your mother's words where she, at a very young age to you, positioned life as a dichotomy of being humble, but like, know that you're the shit.
Yeah.
And all those things you went through. And it's the same thing. It's like, strive for protection, perfection, but also know that nothing will ever get there. And can you be okay with that dissonance?
Right. And there's a moment, and I think it's where one of the arts of living is. If you are going to prescribe to go to perfection, there's that moment when reality comes in, when you had to declare, and the cards speak for themselves, and it's under. But because you oversaw it, it's a theory I got called overseeing, because you oversee the best, this divinity out of people and in art and of yourself, and it always comes in under. How quickly can you go, nice reality.
I've watched so many entrepreneurs treat sales like a performance problem when it's often down to visibility. Because when you can't see what's happening in your pipeline, what stage each conversation is at, what's stalled, what's moving, you can't improve anything and you can't close the deal. Our sponsor, Pipedrive, is the #1 CRM tool for small to medium businesses. Not just a contact list, but an actual system that shows your entire sales process, end to end, everything that's live, what's lagging, and the steps you need to take next. All of your teams can move smarter and faster. Teams using Pipedrive are on average closing 3 times more deals than those that aren't. It's the first CRM made by salespeople for salespeople that over 100,000 companies around the world rely on, including my team who absolutely love it. Give Pipedrive a try today by visiting pipedrive.com/CEO. And you can get up and running in a couple of minutes with no payment needed. And if you use this link, you'll get a 30-day free trial. Can I ask you a question about that then? If you had aimed for something to be perfect and then it delivered itself as perfect, exactly how you had imagined, if at all possible, would that have made you happy? Would you have been...
I don't know. You're right.
Would it made you scared?
Both, probably. Because, look, I've had moments. Let me tell you one. In Africa, I'm in Mali, Africa. Doggone country. Me and my guide, who's a buddy now, he said we're hiking from village to village in the Banjagara. Each village is 10 to 15 miles away. I went over there, needing my anonymity under the name of David. I said I was a writer and a boxer. Well, they call me Dowda. Anyway, they didn't give a damn about the writing part, but they were very interested in the wrestling part. So each village I would go to started to catch up to me, like strong white named Doda. And they love to wrestle over there. They love to wrestle. It's kind of a form of entertainment. The boys just walk up and start wrestling. When I get to this one village one night, Benji Montu, And I'm laying there, 14 mile hike to get there. I'm laying on the ground stretching. Villages all kind of come up around. They're talking and chattering, and all of a sudden I hear this chatter that's sort of at me. I can just hear it. And I look up and it's these two boys. They're about 18, and they're boom, 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 popping at me. And I can be like, and I know enough to tone. I don't know what they're saying because they're speaking Bombada. I'm like, are they talking shit to me? And he goes, yes, because they are the wrestlers of the village. They say that they are the best wrestlers in the village. They are challenging you to wrestling match. So I was like, oh, they are. Well, they sure are talking a lot. I go, I don't know if they mean it. Y'all have this thing over here? We have a thing in America where someone talks too much. They really don't mean it. He goes, yes, we have this. We have this. And just as that happens, you hear the crowd, "Wah!" Scream. And I look up and the two boys, bam, run off. Why? Because the real champion wrestler of the village, Michel, 5'9", tree trunk legs, around 220, burlap bag wrapped with a rope around his waist. He showed up. He doesn't say a word. He just stands over me, points to me, points to himself, points over here. I look over where he's pointing, there's a big dirt pit. My heart starts racing. There's the challenge. As my heart's beating, going, oh no, I start to get up. Because as this ear's saying, oh no, I'm hearing in this ear, if you don't, you will regret this for the rest of your life. You've got to go do it. It will at least be a great story to tell. So I get up, village goes crazy. Oh, about 80 people have gathered now. The chief comes out, I'm standing in the middle of the pit going, I'm not sure how this is supposed to go, what are the rules? Chief puts his hands on our heads. Michelle grabs me by the waist, mimics to me, I grab him by the waist, then he burrows his forehead down into my clavicle here. I burrow mine into his, so now we're like two bulls like this. And the chief puts his hands on our head and then raises them and goes, stop! And the crowd goes wild. Ding ding is what stop meant. So we start going around, man, and I'm thinking, okay, I get some leverage on this guy's legs. They're like tree trunks. I'm like, oh, I ain't getting him down low. So we're scrapping, boom. I get him over, bam, flip him on his back. He flips me back over. I backflip him off my back and somersault him. He comes in, gets me in a freaking leg lock that I can barely breathe. I almost got to tap out from. I shimmy that thing. All of a sudden, Chief comes in, separates us. I'm hyperventilating, man. Crowd's going crazy. He's got a split Michelle on this side, me on this side. I had these talismans that were in my beard. Two of them got torn out during the rest of the match. Got blood running down me here. My knees are bleeding. My ankles are bleeding. I'm hyperventilating, covered in sweat. I look over at Michelle. He's just staring at me going, barely a glisten on him. And that's when the chief goes, up! And I go, oh shit, here we go. Boom, boom, boom. Grabs my waist, bop, bop, burls his head. I burrow my head, we're off. Goes around again. Pretty damn good match. Strong. I flipped him, he pinned me. We got up, got moving. All of a sudden, Chief comes in, separates us. Raises both our hands. The crowd goes crazy. Ah! As soon as he loses our hands, Michelle runs off. Everyone sees him go, and they come in and grab me and put me on the shoulders. Dow, 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 dow. I go over. Now I'm a big man in the village, which means they give me the best chair that has the least broken sort of, straw on the seat, which means the village boy finds me the biggest chicken and plucks it and they cook it for dinner for me, which means they take me to the cleanest spot in the river. And I come back at night and eat. I get on the roof of the hut. What a magical day. I lay back. I see the Southern Cross for the first time in the sky. Like it was in neon lights on a black backdrop. It was, you could not see it. It was so bright, staring me right in the face. I laid there 30 minutes, saw 29 shooting stars. I'm going, I might have a direct line. I might be the chosen. Wow. Just about to shut my eyes and in my throat. So I sit up. Go to spit out off the top of the roof. Loogie plastered to my face. I forgot I'd put my mosquito net on. And I was like, oh, perfect. Just when I was thinking I might have the direct line, I just bit a loogie in my own face. And there became the humor. Now, to finish off that story, the next morning, when I left the village, remember Michelle who ran away? I got to the edge of the village, about to make the 14-mile walk to the next village. And there behind the first tree, past off the property, popped out Michelle. Not a word. Looked at me, bowed, grabbed my hand. He walked me the 14 miles to the next village, got to the village border, next tribe, and walked home. I went back, unannounced, 6 years later. Did the same trip. Ran into the same people, the kids had grown 6 years older, everybody. Get to Benji Amatu. There's Michelle. He's had 5 kids. And he broke his hip. So he's got a limp. Right? So, we all agree, not another wrestling match. We had a great dinner that night. We talked, we tell stories. They're speaking Bambara, I'm speaking English, but we're just understanding each other. So yeah, that's what he told me then, and I went back 6 years later and had that experience. And that experience with Michelle, the respect we had, he walked me, broke the hip and all, the 14 miles to the next village.
You accept the challenge.
You accept the challenge. That is when you are a big man in this village. Because I was like, put me on the shoulders, man. What was it? He was like, oh, you are a big man when you accept the challenge. He said, whole village stink. Michelle going to have a strong man named Dowda on back in 10 seconds. Over. But you handle it, Michelle. Not win or lose. Handle it. But you are a big man when you accept the challenge. Beautiful. And then he's there 6 years later and walks me the same way. I mean, I think your question was on, when we know, or how confident when we're feeling like we're on the right path, which that was a time when I thought I was so much. I was like, I think I might be there. Loogie in my face. And that to me was God going, you're doing good, but not that good, bud.
There's so many young men that are struggling. When I looked at the stats around suicidal ideation and suicidality, the biggest killer of men under, I think, the age of 45 is themselves. And it's funny, you said earlier on about to be a young man, you have to feel like someone depends on you. And it reminded me of someone on this show that told me when they analysed suicide letters, the prevailing sentiment across all of these suicide letters, I think it was an Australian study, was feeling like people didn't need you, or even worse, they were better off without you. In suicide letters
Very
from men.
Japanese almost.
And when you said earlier that we need someone to depend upon us, it made me think about that. And then you talked about challenge. We need a resistance and challenge to aim for. And life is removing that challenge. It's removing the
Yeah, what are the new challenges? Those challenges may not be the ones that, and hopefully we'll find ways that can actually pay a qualitative way. Don't we need a challenge that's immortal? Like belief in God, or belief in our better self and how we are as a human and our own character and our own dignity and our relationships in tomorrow. our past, and our kids that are not measured and paid for with the local mortal currency, but are a pursuit that keep us having qualitative and valuable experiences that mean something to us and give our life meaning while we're doing whatever else we're doing in life that may not be giving us the meaning or making us feel.
I want to ask you something, because as I started to read Poems and Prayers, you sort of confront a lot of my previous rebuttals to faith, which I imagine a lot of young people have, which is around like the science of it.
Yeah.
Like what about the science? What about proof and evidence?
Yeah.
You confront this head on. And how do you think about that? Because you're someone who understands the science and the studies and all those kinds of things. But
I think science is the practical pursuit of God. And like we're talking about perfection, it ain't ever gonna get there. But bravo for it. I believe God loves the scientists. I believe he does. And thank you. Again, like hands on the wheel, thank you for being agnostic and going, you can only believe in your science. Thank you. You're churning your way towards me. I'm not gonna get here, but thank you for that pursuit, that independence, to bring up the word again. I don't know. That's the point. I can't not conclude. Those are nouns. Belief is a verb. Faith is a verb. In God or any of those other things that we were talking about, our better selves, each other. Those are... A scientist doesn't necessarily doubt. A scientist just says, I can't believe in something that until it's proven. And if it's unproven, my craft says I cannot believe. I believe that's what a scientist looks at it. So I cannot believe in, or maybe it's I must doubt that which cannot be proven. I understand that. That does not, again, contradict a scientist. If that's your vocation, if that is your philosophy and your life creed of how you behave and believe, that does not contradict belief in God, even though you can't conclude that God exists. I know plenty of scientists that are also believers. I don't know. You know, it's. I got a poem in here, and this is not a lowest common denominator, but also just another practical way of thinking about it. If you're like, man, I'm not for it. Let's just go practical for a second. Heaven or not, right? Tomorrow is not today's measurement when the misery is bad enough. To the suffering, consideration is a privilege. And that's part of what faith and religion are for. To help those in misery hang on to a hope that will most likely not be served them in this life. To sell them belief and faith that they will be served in the next. And what if there's nothing there, man? What if there's nothing to hope for? Go next. Either way, in here or without a heaven there, not having any hope or faith in anything is a certain way to remain where you are forever. But if you can find something that can keep you going, something, no matter how small, to look forward to and continually have faith in and chase, well, then your life here will be better than it is now, heaven or not.